live now, so it's all going to go downhill real fast.
Oh.
We're here with Erogenous Tones, and why don't you tell people who you are and what you're doing?
Hey, I'm Rick Burnett from Erogenous Tones, and we're here this year showing off our Eurorack line, plus a couple prototypes that we've got, and some visual stuff we have that we're just kind of putting together to see what people think about it. We want to turn it into a product.
So first, let's talk about gatestorm. This has been a product that's been kind of in the works for a long time, huh?
Yeah, it's about 2 years of development time, and finally released it, I guess, I don't know, about 3 months ago. And so basically we were doing a live show down in Florida, and I had a whole bunch of gate modules, and I just wanted something that was, for a live show I could change around really quickly, didn't have to move a lot of cables. So it's got like a patching system in it, and it's got a CV matrix that you can modulate anything in it that you want to do with all, use same CVs to modulate different parameters. It's got a randomization system. You can pick which things you want to randomize. Not only that, you can do what I call the random constraint system, so you can pick which things you want, like which settings are valid, like a length of 8 and a length of 4, but none of the other ones, stuff like that. So that's pretty much, as a quick demonstration of what gatestorm is. It's got
now can you say presets, and like how does the preset system work?
Yeah, so it's got 8 presets. And you can switch them on the front, or you can switch them with a CV voltage setup. You can do like incremental mode, or you can do like whatever the CV is, will pick between 1 and 8. And it, by default, will switch them relative to the clock, so they're always in time, but you can turn that off so things are not synced if you want to do off time stuff.
Bring it real close to the screen. That's a huge screen on this thing.
Yeah, really
gives you lots of information on here, logic and.
So down here you can see the logic channels. You can combine anything from these complex rows, which are 1 to 16 steps, and you can turn any of the steps on and off. And then the simple rows are they're just like straight clock, or you can do like a randomization of let's call it density function. So if it's like 25% of the time and you're multiplied by 2, 25% of the time it'll generate a gate on time with relative to that clock.
Very cool.
Another cool thing, you come over here, the outputs are not locked into what you have, so you can CV this as well, but you can rotate the outputs.
Oh, nice.
So if you want to, it's really fun for drums when you mix up where it's going.
You can get kind of like that shuffling clock kind of stuff.
Exactly.
And
if you look down here, you can this one's locked, so it won't rotate that one. So if you're using one of the outputs, and you can lock any ones that you want. You can also set up, you can randomize. So if I do this, it's random unique. And what this means is it won't assign the same output to multiple ones, or you can just do full random, and it could be any, it's completely random which outputs go out. And you can store that in the presets as well.
Now next to this, we got the radar. What is this?
So radar is our prototype of a repeating AD or AR. So basically you can go LFO mode, or AD mode, or AR mode. And then you can use a gate when you're in AD or AR to switch between those, so you can get some really kind of nice patterns.
Do they loop?
They do loop. The loop mode is the repeating mode.
Oh, cool.
So attack and decay. Over here, you have a CV controllable shape, and these are set in sets of 4. So with these switches, so in mode 1, the attack and release shapes are identical. So, but you go from logarithmic to linear to exponential, and then CV control that. If you flip the switch on the shape, then it basically just flips which ones on both sides for the release. Sure. So it goes from like what mass looks like, which has the same shape on both sides, to some of the other ones that are more like a capacitor charging and discharging.
Oh, cool.
So it's really fun. Then the other thing it does, the second button, what it'll do is you can do analog modeling or digital. So analog modeling, if you send a trigger reset and you're still in the attack phase, it's just going to keep rising.
Yeah.
And when you go and you're in the release phase and you send it, then it will just start accumulating again from that point. So it works just like mass works that way. It's completely analog. In digital mode, it's kind of like the double Andorra where it resets to 0.
Yeah.
So I did that because sometimes I use this for effect, not just like what standard envelope kind of uses, where I do want it to cut to 0 because the effect's kind of neat. Or I'm running it into a slew generator and kind of changing it around that way as well. So there'll be 2 other modes in the final version. The second mode will be Octature mode, which will mean all these will be 45 degrees out from each other. I'm still kind of figuring out what I want to do, but there's going to be some kind of neat CV settings for like spreading the time around and stuff like that, so they're all kind of have relationships to each other.
Very cool.
Then the last mode will be like 2 chained envelopes that will come out normal and inverted, and maybe 2 ADSRs, but still kind of trying to figure that one out.
And what is the VC8?
So VC8 is 8 VCAs.
Awesome.
You can
never have enough VCAs.
I know, right? The same thing with the envelopes. You can feed 3 of them into the 4th one with this switch, so it's kind of like a subgroup type of thing. And instead of just doing a bias control, which I've seen a lot of them, I did an offset control, so I could go to negative. That way, when you put a negative on it, it kind of shifts when the VCA is going to kick in later on. And then if I need to make up some gain, I just use levitate down here on the end.
That's awesome.
To pull it up.
What's going on with these visuals here? This stuff is crazy.
So up top, we kind of prototyping just some ideas of doing visuals with a Raspberry Pi. So we've got 2 Raspberry Pis back there, and we wrote a bunch of custom code that's doing OpenGL ES shaders. And I've got audio coming in through a USB audio interface, and I'm using that to generate textures and then modulate 3D geometry at the same time.
That's awesome.
So we're thinking about turning this into an open source project, more or less, where it'll have like 8 CV/gate in, pick whatever you want, a couple knobs, and a bunch of input and output video options, so people can use it with their VJ stuff.
Very cool. Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is Erogenous Tones, and definitely check them out. We'll go over here and we'll see. What's the website link?
It is erogenoustones.com.
All right. So, cow.